My message to parents is that they shouldn't feel bad or guilty if they've allowed their kids to drink at home. I think there's been a lot of conflicting information out there over the years about what the best approach is to addressing alcohol use among adolescents to, when they should be initiating alcohol use. So I think it's really understandable that a lot of us are confused about what the best approach is. I think that it's important that parents are aware of the National Alcohol Guidelines. They're current, they're based on the most up-to-date evidence, and they suggest that young people should try and delay alcohol for as long as possible, at least until the age of 18 years, to try and avoid harms associated with alcohol use during adolescence. And I know that's so much easier said than done as someone who is over the age of 18 and who had a drink before the age of 18, but that's based on current evidence. Our findings showed that teenagers who had permission to drink from home were significantly more likely to have recently drunk, so they were more likely to have drunk in the last month and in the last week, and they were also more likely to have experienced various types of alcohol-related harms. So those harms included getting into trouble at school or work because of alcohol, getting into arguments with family members, becoming violent, getting injured, or having sex with someone that they later regretted. And there's always a risk with adolescent alcohol consumption that they develop problematic alcohol use behaviours later in life.
Are there risks physically as well?
There's the risk that all of us might experience as a result of alcohol use. So there's damage to the body, there's damage to the brain, potentially, particularly to developing brains in adolescence. But again, there's violence, there's injury. Even just from falling down while drunk, there's that risk that all of us face. Doesn't matter if you're an adolescent or an adult. One of the interesting findings from our study was that the more frequently parents drank, the more likely they were to allow their kids to drink at home. So I think that parents probably need to be a little bit mindful about how their own alcohol use might affect their parenting practices around alcohol consumption among their kids. I think it's important that all of us are aware of modelling inappropriate relationships with alcohol when we're around young people at events like family functions, such as at Christmas, and also in public and in community settings like at sporting events, for example, like maybe at footy matches.
How honest should we be with our kids about the damaging effects of alcohol?
I think we should be very honest. I think that some young people might think that the most harmful effect from alcohol might be a hangover. And I think it's important that we make them aware of all the other harms that are associated with alcohol use, including violence and injuries and mental ill health and even death. I think for them to make educated choices, I think that they should be aware of the risks associated with alcohol consumption.
So were you surprised by the results of this study?
I think I was surprised that there weren't as many teens as I expected who had permission to drink from home. So we estimated that around about 28% of teens in Australia who are aged 16 to 17 had permission to drink from home, and I thought that percentage might be higher. And that's probably a reflection on the culture around alcohol when I was growing up in Australia and in my community. I come from a regional town. And I'm hoping that we're moving away from that culture of embracing and encouraging and promoting alcohol use, particularly among adolescents, and educating people more about a responsible relationship with alcohol.